Hi, and welcome to day 12. So, what is it that we're going to be learning today? Well, today we're going to learn how to multiply fractions. Okay, when do we use fractions? You probably have heard me talk before about using it for parts of time or parts of a length or of a width or a height. But we use fractions in cooking and we use fractions in shopping in a lot of everyday life. Today, I really want to focus on that word of. It's got a little tilted up there in orange. When we see the word of in fractions, quite often we are going to be multiplying fractions. So if we have like 1/2 of 1/4, we are going to be multiplying instead of, it doesn't really tell us if we're going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide, but if we're taking a part of another number, we are definitely going to be multiplying. Okay, let's move on. For our warm-up questions for today, we're going to actually hold on before we do our warm-up questions, but what kinds of fractions can we multiply and how are the procedures different? So we can do a fraction times a fraction. So in this case, it would be like 1/2 times 1/3. And when we multiply two fractions together, we only need to worry about multiplying the numerators times the numerators and the denominators times the denominators. Now, in fractions, it's probably the easiest operation with all of the fractions because we don't have to remember to make equivalent fractions. We do not need to make common denominators. We just are straight up multiplying numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So what happens when we get a whole number and we multiply that by a fraction? So, as you might know, a whole number, like the number 4, is still the same thing if we put it over top of a 1. So like 4 over 1 is the same thing as 4 is a whole number. So let's say we have 4 times 1/3. So it would actually be 4 over 1 multiplied by 1/3. Okay, this will become more clear when we go over the questions themselves. Next up, we have a mixed number by a fraction. So when we have a mixed number, we can very easily turn that into an improper fraction and multiply that by our other fraction. So we'll go over how to do that as well. We also have a mixed number times a mixed number. Again, we are not able to multiply fractions unless there's just one numerator and one denominator. We cannot multiply with the whole number out in front times the fractional pieces plus times the whole number. We don't do that as a standard algorithm in math. And finally, we have an improper fraction times a fraction, and this should not be a problem because we have already the numerators and numerators and denominators and denominators. Okay, so when we look at the warm-up questions, we're going to watch for the similarities and the differences for each of these questions. In all, we're multiplying the numerators times the numerators and the denominators times the denominators. So here are our warm-up questions for today. Okay, we have 1/8 times 1/4, which that would be the example here of fraction times a fraction. We have 2 1/2 times 8/9. That would be a mixed number times a fraction. Next up, we have 3 1/6 times 4, and that would be a mixed number times a whole number. And then for our last example, we have 2 1/2 times 8 4/5, and that would be a mixed number times a mixed number. Now, I will be doing this on a side paper, and then I will reveal the answers for you then. Stay tuned.
For today's warm-up questions, we have 1/8 times 1/4. And when we multiply fractions, we're just multiplying numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So in this case, we have 1 times 1, and that gives us 1, and 8 times 4, which gives us 32. One of the things that you'll notice is that when you're multiplying by a fraction that's less than 1, your number is going to be getting smaller. So we have 1/8 times 1/4, and we have a very small number as 1/32 as our answer. For our next problem, we have a mixed number times a regular fraction. So in this case, we need to take this 2 1/2 and turn it into an improper fraction. So the way that we can do that is we can multiply 2 times 2 and get 4, and then add 1 for 5. So it becomes 5/2. And for those of you that are confused about how I got that 5/2 and what I do, so the 2 can end up being 2 over 2 and 2 over 2. these will each be equal to 1. So this is 1 and 1 plus 1/2. So we have 2, 4, 5, and that's our numerator, and then our 2 in the bottom is our denominator. We're going to multiply that by 8/9 and get the answer of 40/18. So that's my start of my answer. Now this is a number that can be reduced or simplified. I noticed that the numerator is larger than the denominator, so it's going to be a mixed number. But I can also do a little reducing actually right now, if I so choose to. I know that 40 and 18 are both even numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and divide by 1 in the form of 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is going to be equal to 1. So 40 divided by 2 is 20. 18 divided by 2 is equal to 9. So I don't know of any numbers that are common between 9 and 20. So I'm going to divide that out to find my whole number answer. So 9 divided into 20. I have 0 for this first part. 9 goes into 20 2 times. 9 times 2 is 18. And I have 2 as my remainder. So this 2 becomes my numerator. So my final answer here will be 2 and 2/9. All right, so if we look at this answer, I want to just look at parts of the question. So first of all, we had 2 and 1/2, and we were multiplying by 8/9. Now 8/9 is almost 1, so we're going to get an answer kind of close to our first number, which was 2.5, and we actually did. We're getting a number that's a little bit smaller because, of course, here we're multiplying by 8/9, which is a little bit smaller than 1. So there you have the answer for that. Okay, so for our next few questions for warm-up, we have 3 1/6 times 4. So what I'm going to do here is make my 3 1/6 into an improper fraction. I will not show you all of the steps as I have done before. So 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. I'm going to, of course, place it over 6. And then I have my whole number, 4. So 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. Those are equivalent fractions. So I'm going to multiply that by 4 over 1. And I'm going to find my answer. So 6 times 1 is 6. And then 19 times 4, I don't know off the top of my head, so I will go ahead and do it over here. 19 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36. Carry the 3. 4 times 1 is 4. 5, 6, 7. So 76/6. Now I can leave my answer like that, but it's not the best answer, especially because I started off this number with a mixed number. So I'm going to do some simplification before I change back. Since I see both of them end in a 6, I'm actually going to divide by 2 because I know it's an even number. Okay, 6 divided by 2 is going to be equal to 3. 76 divided by 2, I'll do over here. 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract, and we get 1 and bring down the 6 for 16. 2 goes into 16 8 times, so 38/3. Now that's a little bit easier for me to divide out to find out what my whole number is going to be. So the 38/3 I will divide out. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 times 3. And like 8. 3 goes into 8. 2 times. 3 times 2 is 3 times 2 is 6. 8 take away 6 is 2. So 12 is my whole number, and 2 will become my numerator, and 3 remains my denominator. 2/3, 12 and 2/3. As I look at the number, does it make sense to me? I'm pretty sure that it does. So if I just looked at these whole numbers, 3 times 4, I would get 12. Plus I have 1 6 more that I'm going to be multiplying by 4. So I have 12 and 2/3. So that looks like a pretty great answer for me. Let's move to the last and final question for the warm-ups. In this problem, I have 2 and 1/2 multiplied by 8 and 4/5. The first step I'm going to do is to find out my improper fraction. Change this. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 5 halves, that's the same thing as 2 and 1/2. And I'm going to multiply that by 8 and 4/5. Or 5 times 8 is 40, plus 4 is 44. Over 5. So I have 8 times 5 is 40, plus 4 is 44. Good. 2 times 5 is 10. And then 44 times 5, I don't know that off the top of my head, so I'm going to do it over here on the side. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2 more is 22. So 2, 2, 0. Now, in the previous sessions, we've talked about divisibility rules. And I've noticed that each of these numbers end in 10. So if I divide by 10 over 10 or divide by 1, okay, 220 divided by 10 would give me 22. And 10 divided by 10 would give me 1. So it would give me a whole number of, straight up, 22. Thanks for joining. Stay tuned. We are going to have our fluency here in just a moment.
All right, thank you for joining us again today. For our fluency, we are going to be focusing on finding the missing divisor. You can use your multiplication skills to help you. Let's get started. 12 divided by what number is equal to 3? If you said 4, you are correct. Let's keep moving. 12 divided by what number will give us 12? The answer here is 1. 12 divided by what number will give us 6? The answer is 2. 12 divided by what number will give us 0? If you said 0, you're correct. 12 divided by what number will give us 4? I see the answer on the screen and it's in purple. The answer is 3. 12 divided by what number will give us 1? If you said 12, you are in fact correct. 12 divided by what number is equal to 2? I see that number on the screen and it's in blue. It is the number 6. 24 divided by what number will give us 4? I'm thinking in my head, 4 times what is 24? If you said 6, you are correct. 24 divided by what number will give us 24? If you said 1, that is correct. 24 divided by what number will give us 0? If you said 0, you are correct. 24 divided by what number is equal to 6? The answer is 4. 24 divided by what number will give us 12? The answer here is 2. 24 divided by what number is equal to 8? I see that 3 and it's in purple on the screen, and that is in fact the answer. 24 divided by what number is equal to 2? I'm thinking to myself, 2 times what number is 24? And if you said 12, you would be correct. 24 divided by what number is equal to 3? I see it on the screen. It's that nice green number 8. Now what? You're going to keep practicing and you're going to kiss your brain. There you are. And keep building those math muscles, and you can go ahead and go on some reflex math to practice more facts. I'll see you soon for our questions of the day. Thanks for joining. All right, now we are on to the question that we are going to work on together today. So, there was 5/8 of a pie left in the fridge. Daniel ate 1/4 of the leftover chicken pot pie. How much of the total chicken pot pie did he eat? So, get ready to do this together. I'm going to meet you on the side paper and carry you through this. Thank you again for joining.
Okay, there was 5/8 of a pie left in the fridge. Daniel ate 1/4 of the leftover pie. How much of the total pie did he have? Explain your thinking and include a statement of the solution. Okay, there's that critical word of. And I remember I told you in our introduction that the word of is most likely going to mean multiplication. So there was 5/8 left in the refrigerator, and Daniel ate 4/5 of that. 1/4 of that. Okay, so 5/8 times 1/4 is like 1/4 of 5/8. So we are going to do numerators times numerators. 5 times 1 is 5. 8 times 4 is 32. So my answer here would be Daniel ate 5/32 of the chicken pot pie. Okay, now.
Okay, our last question for today includes a question for Olivia. So Olivia took out some glasses and poured juice from the pitcher. The capacity, or the amount of space that each glass could take, is 3/10 of a liter. If there was enough juice for 6 glasses, how much juice was in the pitcher? Okay, you're going to also need to explain your thinking and include a statement of the solution. So this is a time where you're going to pause the video and you are going to try to figure out how much orange juice, or just plain juice, was in the pitcher to begin with. Now we need to remember that Olivia took out some glasses. That's what we know, that there's 6 because it tells us later on. But we need to find out how much was in that pitcher to begin with. In each of those 6 glasses, there was 3/10 of a liter. So we're doing something 6 times. Okay, so I'm going to give you that big hint. Please pause the video, work out your problem on your own, and be ready to go over the answers with me in just a bit. Thanks for joining.
All right, my friend Olivia, she took out some glasses and poured juice from the pitcher. The capacity of each glass is 3/10 of a liter. If there was enough juice for 6 glasses, how much juice was there? Explain your thinking and include a statement of the solution. I am an old person, but I love to use pictures to help me. So I'm going to actually draw 6 glasses. And I know that each of these had 3/10 of an ounce. 3/10 of a liter. Now, if I were in a younger grade, I might just add all those together. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 3/10 times 6. This almost looks like the problem that we saw earlier in our warm-ups. So what I'm going to do is just rewrite it as 3/10 times 6/1, and I will get my answer. So I'll multiply numerators times numerators and denominators times denominators. So 3 times 6 is equal to 18. 10 times 1 is equal to 10. So I had 18/10 of a liter total. Well, I've never used 18/10 of a liter because that is an improper fraction, my friends, and we're going to need to rename my improper fraction into a mixed number. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to divide out 10 and 18. So 10 goes into 18 once. 10 times 1 is 10. I'm going to subtract. 18 take away 10 is 8. So I'm going to have 1 and 8/10. But if you're looking closely, you'll know that 1 and 8/10 can be simplified even further. So 1 and 8/10. The 1, of course, is going to stay the same, but the 8/10 can be divided out to make an equivalent fraction by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I'm going to bring down this 1, and 4/5 of a liter was in the pitcher before Olivia filled the 6 glasses. It's really important that you do this statement of the solution because it really makes sure that you understand what the question is. So we started out with these 6 glasses. Each of them had 3/10 in them, and I made it simpler for us as 5th graders, 3/10 times 6, and then changed that over to 3/10 times 6/1 and got 18/10. And I said that was kind of like my original answer to the question, which is not wrong. It's just can be a little bit more neat. So I divided the 18 by 10, and I got 1, and I actually should put this 8 as the numerator and 10 as the denominator, and then I boxed it in over here. And I wanted to simplify it a little bit further, so I took the 1 and 8/10 and divided it by 2 over 2 to get 4/5, and I had to make sure I included that 1. So 1 4/5 liter was in the pitcher before Olivia filled the 6 glasses. I'm pretty sure my answer is correct. I've explained my thinking. I included the statement of the solution, and I definitely have my answer right here, which is the 1 4/5. You have done a really great job. If at any time you need to go and rewatch what has been done, please go ahead and do so. We will see you again here tomorrow.
All right, Peak Flicks math scholars, you have done an incredible job today. But you're not done yet. I'm going to need you to go on to Zern, Reflex Math, or most importantly, fill out an exit ticket for today's work. Please show us how smart you are in what you have learned from doing the lessons here on Peak Flicks. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day. It was wonderful teaching and learning alongside of you. Take care.